The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host and or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of the host and or Paranormal Buzz Radio and or its sponsors. Use of any material produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is prohibited. Paranormal Buzz Radio will not be held responsible for you holding your knees, crying, and rocking in a corner in a puddle of your own urine, or being beheaded by a group of children in a cornfield. In fact, if you come across a group of children in a cornfield, we promise to make fun of you as you run away screaming in terror. Listener discretion is advised.
The Cryptid Files is a weekly discussion and debate covering all things cryptid. Mysterious and terrifying creatures are our passion. Join us each week as we bring you groundbreaking interviews and accounts, info from research in the field, as well as data and experiences of our own. From the widely known cryptids to the most strange and obscure, we want to believe. Do you?
Legend speaks of the Thunderbird, a most wise and ancient inhabitant of North America. There are many stories surrounding these creatures of the skies, such as that of how they fought and annihilated all the world's horned serpents. The Thunderbirds were believed to live along the North American West Pacific coast, where many myths and legends are told about them to this day. Many viewed them as protectors and symbols of power and strength. Some say the Thunderbird was able to wield control of the elements. Yet there are those who feared the creature as birds of prey and hunters of children. Even so, humanity wasn't the only meal on their mythical palate.
And welcome to the Cryptid Files.
Hello, everybody.
What's going on, Fran?
Hi, Fran. How you doing? I hope you had a really good week. I hope everybody had a wonderful week. And everyone is out enjoying the warm weather. Or hopefully you're having nice weather. And we're able to get out and enjoy it. I know we have a lot lately.
Yeah, we went camping last night. And, a little bit of cryptid research.
Which oddly enough led into paranormal stuff. And then back and forth, sort of.
It did a little bit, yeah.
It's kind of strange. It kind of took a kind of a, I don't know, just an interesting turn.
Yeah, it was just kind of weird. We bought a new spirit box, and it's one of the S box by Ghost Stop. I like it, by the way. It's
very awesome. It's highly recommended by us, I think.
So we were asking questions, and excuse me, and it went from ghosts to Bigfoot. So we started kind of having an epiphany a little bit, or hypotheses, if you will.
Yeah.
And it was kind of weird when we started asking Bigfoot questions. We started getting responses, which, again, we thought was weird.
And they were like really, really spot on responses. It's because you know me. I'm in the woods. Well, anytime. Okay, look, it's not just in the woods. You guys know I always think about Bigfoot all the time. So, I mean, I'm in the woods. We're doing a little session with the spirit box. What are you going to do? You're going to ask some questions like, if there's a spirit in the woods, have you seen Bigfoot? So that's just kind of where it went.
And so the responses, were weird. And they started, do you see the hairy man? And then,
yeah, and it
Bigfoot.
said me.
And I think the first one was yes.
Yeah.
And then
asked if you're, are you, or who,
are
where
you
is,
Bigfoot?
Are you the Bigfoot? It said me.
It said me.
Okay,
so,
Bigfoot.
Now, for those people that don't know, Bigfoot supposedly can communicate on frequencies that we can't hear. What did we find out? 4 to 5 different hertz more than or kilohertz more than we can actually hear.
Oh yeah.
So
like way above and below our range of hearing and comprehension. So
we started asking those kinds of questions, maybe thinking that if they can communicate like that, then they should be able to possibly use the spirit box to communicate with us. So it was just kind of a hypothesis, nothing proven
I know,
yet.
Fran.
But
It was really interesting.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of in fun.
What's up,
and
Matt?
we started to really get a response, hi, Matt, from it, which is, it's pretty interesting because we were just out. It was primitive camping.
Yeah.
So we were
Very
by the
primitive.
creek and set up a few tents and, had a fire going and had the dog. So it was perfect and a perfect night for it as well. But it was about, I don't know, it was around midnight when we were doing this, wasn't it?
Midnight, 1 o'clock, yeah.
It's so cliche. But, it was, we had the parabolic out as well.
Mm-hmm.
And, just kind of running through some equipment and testing it out a little bit.
Which
Testing
I'm
out our new
surprised that
stuff.
that voice recorder went all
Yes,
night.
it
Just
did.
your basic standard voice recorder went all night.
It absolutely did. So we're a bit,
Thanks, Matt.
awesome investigation. Sweet. Lucky you. How did we sleep? Oh, man. Not too good. The ground is a little bit, was a little rough and bumpy where we were at, which we ran into the last time we were camping on a campground in a campsite. It wasn't too bad, but it was, after a little bit, you start to kind of not be comfortable.
Yeah. For me, it was, went to bed about 1:30, pretty much passed right out. The ground felt pretty comfortable. And
Yeah.
then about 3:30, I woke up. My hips were killing me. I must have found a root throughout the night.
We always do.
So I tossed and turned until I could find a spot again. Went back to sleep. Woke up at 20 minutes of 5 and looked out the tent. And that big log I stuck on there.
Giant log.
Yeah, it was still red hot underneath. I went and grabbed it. I get up. I couldn't sleep. I told her, I'm getting up. It's 20 to 5. I can't do it. And threw some wood on the fire and went right up. Just poked it a little bit and went right up.
I got a little bit more sleep.
Yeah, you did. You woke up probably about 6-ish.
Yep. I think it was right on the day. It was like 5:58. And then I started some coffee and breakfast, and we enjoyed the morning, and we took the little guy for a little walk. He woke up, and gotta make the coffee.
Yeah, we did make coffee. Trust me, we made coffee.
We love our coffee. So we did make some coffee, and we took the little guy out for a walk in the creek, or to the kind of crossover at this creek we were at. So it was nice. We had a good time.
So the area that we were in is a supposed hotbed for Mr. Bigfoot.
It's our area number 1, by the way.
Area number 1.
And sightings and experiences and interactions
They
with
go
Bigfoot
way back.
way back in this area. We're trying to dig up more on that, and we'll give you guys a little heads up when we do. But that was interesting. We also had an interesting time last week too. Last Saturday night after our show.
Yes.
I don't know if you want to talk about that or not a little bit.
We'll save it for the second half. We'll talk about that then.
Awesome. It was a lot of fun.
It was. Definitely was.
I had a great time.
Shout
it was
out to my
interesting.
boss, David. And by the
Yes.
way, my boss at my job just found out what he's having for a baby.
Yes.
He's having a baby boy, so I want to congratulate him.
I know. Congratulations, David.
Him and his
We're
wife.
so excited for you guys. Oh, it's so exciting. But yeah, we did have a let's have it. Fran wants it now.
Well,
I mean, we can talk a little bit about how about Fran? We do it here in just a few.
yeah, we'll do it here in just a few because the cryptid we have tonight is the Thunderbird. So we were kind of having a tough time with this one because it's not really a it is
documented.
It is, but it isn't.
Yeah. No, wait
So,
for it. It's not a well documented.
Yeah.
This little critter. I'll tell you what, big critter. He doesn't have a lot to investigate into.
He doesn't have a lot to offer.
No. So, and I'm on the fence about it. I was very upfront with John. I don't know about this cryptid. I'm not
Yeah.
even sure if I want to call it a cryptid, but we have made a commitment to address every cryptid, and it doesn't matter whether we think it's hooey or not.
Right.
And some John doesn't think are real. Some I really don't think are real. This is one of those ones I haven't looked at. I'm really not sure
this
about
is
this.
one that I listen. There's a lot of big critters in this world that we don't know about, and tonight we're talking about the Thunderbird.
Now, here's my issue with the Thunderbird, okay?
Mm-hmm.
My issue is that it could so well be an actual creature that we
yes.
know of, that is
Yes.
a documented, a scientifically studied creature. So,
Yes.
I find it just a little bit hard to swallow, because if you're out and you see a bird that's not indigenous to your area, it's going to freak you out anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Some crazy looking black funky bird with like a giant wingspan, which people are like, 18 feet, 20 feet, it had to have at least have been that. But there are birds that exist that we know of in this world that can have 12-foot wingspans. And when you're looking at a bird that big, I feel like in your brain, you're automatically going to sort of, it's going to look really, really big to you. So a bird with let's say an 8-foot wingspan,
Yep.
when you look at it and you're so startled, that might look like a bird with a 12-foot, 14, 18-foot, whatever wingspan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's going to feel like it's huge when it's a bird that you don't know what it is. So, and I think that a wingspan on a bird is just, that's a difficult thing to look at and say that's how big it is, because you don't even know the size of the bird, actually. It's not like a Bigfoot. A Bigfoot, you can look and you can kind of gauge by, the trees it's near, the brush, or, go back and look at the ditch it went through. Or there are a lot of ways to, a cryptid that's on the ground like this, there are a lot of ways to kind of see how big it might be. With this thing, it's a bird.
Right.
A bird thing. So, I don't know. I have a lot of issue with this one.
Well, let's
so
give you a little
we'll dig
input.
into it.
The Thunderbird is a legendary creature in North American indigenous people.
You got it.
History and cultures, it is considered a supernatural being of power and strength. It is especially important and frequently depicted in the art, songs, and oral histories of many Pacific Northwest Coast cultures. Do I say that 10 times fast?
Yeah.
But is also found in various forms among some people of the Americas, Southwest, East Coast of the United States, Great Lakes, and Great Plains. So from where I'm from, the Algonquin in that area, which is I believe is the northeast and the northern region of that corner. Mm-hmm. In Algonquin mythology, the Thunderbird controls the upper world, while the underworld is controlled by the underwater panther, or great horned serpent. The Thunderbird throws lightning at the underworld creatures and creates thunder by clapping its wings. Thunderbirds in this tradition are commonly depicted as having an X-shaped appearance. This varies from a simple X to recognized bird. So when they would draw it hieroglyphics, they would draw it as an X. We're looking at Wikipedia right now, talking to you guys.
Oh, I got you. Okay, so it's kind of a rudimentary type thing. I got it now. I thought it meant like when it's flying through the air, it looks like an X. I was like, no, wait a damn minute.
Right. This varies from a simple X to recognizable birds. The X-shaped Thunderbird is often used to depict the Thunderbird with its wings alongside its body, and the head facing towards forwards instead of in a profile.
But that one kind of. But don't they look kind of like it's the profile and not facing forward?
I don't know. Yes.
Huh.
To answer your question.
You learn something new every day, I guess.
So there's not a whole bunch of stats, because I usually give the stats on the creature, how tall it is, the wingspan. Because when we started digging into this, what we found out was that I'm trying to read Wikipedia, see if there's anything in here as far as size goes, so I can give you an idea. But as we were digging through all this, we found out that there's a lot of birds out there that we don't know about. There was actually one bird maybe it's in this, that we would have seen, but it was from the prehistoric era, which is no longer around.
Right.
And it was 106 pounds.
Yes.
160. Did I say 160?
I think it's 160.
160 pounds with a wingspan of anywhere from 18 to 24 feet.
24 feet, that's right.
So it would have dwarfed the bald eagle times 3.
Imagine walking around like that these days with birds. That you'd have to duck and cover a lot. You know how birds will attack you when you get too close to their nest?
Yep.
Imagine that. You wouldn't make it through that.
Right.
People get picked up and carried off all the time.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You know, in fact, we were talking about that in New Zealand. They found a dig site that had birds that were like that big, actually. Yeah. And they were talking about the same birds, and they found like this oldest human found, like oldest human body of a 3-year-old kid that had its head pecked open and its eyes pecked out by a bird of that size. Wow. From what they can tell.
That's unbelievable.
So these birds were big. They were nothing to fool around with. And, I don't know. I wouldn't want to tangle with it. But, we have birds that are pretty freaking big today, though, even.
Yeah. I mean, you have condors, you have eagles.
You've got, like, the California condor, and that one's got, what, like a
8-foot wingspan.
8 foot on a juvenile, an 8-foot wingspan. And they're real dark. Yeah. And the Andean condor.
The Andean condor is supposed to be one of the biggest right now.
It's the biggest bird in the world.
10-foot wingspan, something to that effect.
10 foot or more.
10 foot or more, yeah.
And it's bigger, as big as or bigger than an albatross. Yeah. Which I think is the second biggest bird, and they're pretty freaking big too.
Oh yes, they are.
So I mean, there are big birds all over the place, and different regions do have like different legends about giant birds, though, don't they? And
yes.
You have to kind of take a little bit into account when you have different legends that have these birds. The only issue I have is that there are not a lot of sightings of these things in each of these legends and cultures. I mean, not modern sightings, anyway.
Yeah, and a lot of this, again, the Thunderbird really comes out of Arizona. Again, the Navajo Indians. In or around the Lake of the Devil, Devil's Lake.
Devil's Lake, yeah.
Now, just so everybody can understand, just because it's called Devil's Lake doesn't mean it's a satanic area. Just because you hear it, that's not what it means. But what happened with the Native Americans, if there was something that they didn't understand or couldn't explain, they would call it the devil. So, like, we would be called the White Devils.
Which basically means evil.
Yeah, but they can't.
Bad,
they can't explain it.
It's something they can't explain, and it's not good.
Right. It just doesn't mean it's. Oh my God, it's the devil.
It doesn't mean it's Beelzebub.
Right.
Or demonic. It just means that's their answer for, the bad or not good thing. But you know that actually California condors have been sighted as far as Arizona.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that could be your culprit there, especially if, and see, here's my thing too with birds. Birds can fly a long way, especially a bird that big. So you even have reports, I think,
yes, friend, they do.
In Illinois and places like that. I was
just reading that one. That's right there.
So if that is the case and people don't know what these birds, you've never seen it before.
Right.
Number one, someone could have a pet. Could have illegally, like we all know, especially these days, could have illegally acquired a California condor or an Andean condor as a pet. It got too big and they let it go. And it's not indigenous to the area. You've never seen it before. You see this thing and it's automatically a monster.
Right.
Or it could have flown that far.
So why don't we get into the Illinois since you brought it up, and then we'll bring you into the most famous Thunderbird sighting.
Yes.
The 1977 Lawndale, Illinois Thunderbird attack was reported attack by 2 unidentified birds on a young boy. The attack occurred on July 25th, 1977. 10-year-old Martin Lowe was playing outside when he was suddenly attacked by 2 large birds, one of which temporarily picked him up and carried him over 30 feet before Martin's mother, Ruth Lowe, ran to her son's rescue, chasing the birds away and recovering her son. Reportedly, several eyewitnesses has seen the attack take place. The birds were described as having a white ring around their neck and a 4.5-foot body, with each wing approximately 4 feet long, a 6-inch hook bill, 3 front claws, and 1 back claw, and a large black body. So that would tell me, that's telling me, that's a turkey vulture.
Well, the more I looked into this, there were several people in the area in Lawndale at that time who saw these very same birds. And some of them described them the same way, but a little bit differently. A man actually took some pictures of these things. Yeah. And in the pictures, there was no white ring around the neck. So
I'm pointing at her at the screen. This is the bird that you would have seen.
Yeah.
This is the giant prehistoric condor.
The
Argentavis.
Well, the woman, I guess, okay. Now this is my issue I have with this story. It said the bird picked her son up and carried it 30 feet up into the air.
No, not up into the air. Carried him 30 feet.
Oh, it said it carried, 30 feet, not 30 feet in the air.
Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. Hold on a second.
But it leads you to believe
carried him over,
temporarily
picked him
30
up
feet.
And carried him over 30 feet before Martin's mother came.
Okay. All right, because I was going to say, if your kid's 30 feet in the air and in a bird's clutch, how are you going to do anything about that?
Well, if you're in a bird's clutch, especially a predatory bird like that, well, they're not really. See, turkey vultures aren't really predatory.
Yeah, which is another weird thing.
They're more scavengers.
They are scavengers.
In those claws, they're unforgivable. They're unforgiving.
No,
so
you're gonna be done. So the bird drops him. And the birds are seen other places too.
Yeah.
The other witnesses did not witness the white ring around the neck like this woman did. She said that the closest thing she can relate it to and what she thinks it actually is was an Andean condor.
Yeah.
But again, you bring
that would have been a juvenile.
Yeah, and there were 2 of them. So but you bring up a very valid point. Why in the hell were 2 condors attacking anything?
Yeah, because where I come from in Massachusetts, in the South Shore area, in hunting, when you see not condors, turkey vultures circling, there's a pretty good chance that something's dead. They don't dive down like hawks and eagles do to get their food. They're scavengers. They'll come down, they'll land on it, they'll rip it apart, eat it, just like a bunch of coyotes with wings.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. It makes it a little bit difficult to kind of put stock in. I mean, okay, I'm not saying it didn't happen.
Yeah.
But this is the only attack by these things at that time. That
is the only attack that I see for that era.
Yeah, I couldn't find another attack in the 1977 incident either. And it's really just strange to me that these birds just swoop down and attack this little boy and then go back off into the wild blue yonder. Other people do see them. Descriptions vary, which I guess if you're in that situation, I guess your mind's going to try to make sense of it. Mm-hmm. But this doesn't really fall into a cryptid category for me.
No.
I mean, I know there's a lot of legend for it, but again, birds can migrate. So if you're a Native American and you've been, in these places all these years, and we all know that they, that animals had like a sacred meaning for them.
Yes.
And in some legends, when you see these birds, it meant you were going to become a great warrior chief and different things like that. They had meaning behind it. But, I mean...
Well, in this case, this thunderbird by the natives along the Pacific coast and in the Great Lakes area, they would see this bird. And its wings were so big that when it flapped, thunder would thunder was created, lightning flashed out of their eyes, and water fell off their backs, and creating rain. The tribes used thunderbirds to explain some of the things that happen naturally. So, like if they had a drought or something, and they saw a thunderbird coming in, oh great, there's going to be rain for our crops or something.
So they were like a precursor to a storm.
Correct, or or in other words, like a god in a way.
So hence the name. This is where the Thunderbird name comes into play.
Yeah,
interesting. Which is totally cool. I mean, it has to be something because all Native American legends can be traced back to something, and they gave this great meaning to these things. There's got to be a reason for it. So I'm not saying that they don't exist. I'm saying I think that this is just too easy for it to be a bird that came, because some birds migrate halfway around the world or more. So it's just not out of their own possibility for me.
Look at
to
hummingbirds,
think.
as small as they are, come from Mexico, and I've seen them in Massachusetts.
Exactly.
That's a haul.
Yeah, it is. So why are we to believe that a bird of that size could not make a trek like that?
Let's go one step further. How about butterflies? Where do they come from?
Yeah, exactly.
And I see them in Massachusetts all the time.
Yeah, it just, to me, it could easily be an unrecognized bird in that region.
Right.
Like,
absolutely.
Really far back. I know I'm playing skeptic tonight, but I just feel like...
Yeah, usually that's my job.
I know. Switching it up tonight.
If we were in the union, I'd file a complaint.
So we're both Scully tonight.
Yeah, we're both Scully. Hey, Ma.
Hello, Judy.
All right, so let's talk here a little bit more about the natives because, like they were here before us and everything else. Some natives also believed that when they saw thunder in the mountains, that's where they lived.
Ah,
you know
the
what I mean?
birds
So
creating
they would go there. Other stories have been there was a thunderbird who battled an enormous killer whale. There are also some stories that thunderbirds used to feed off of blue whales.
Now, I can see that. I can see like an albatross.
Yeah.
Those things are big.
No, this thunderbird would come down into the water, grab the whale, and take it away. That's how big this bird is.
I think somebody was smoking some pan.
Yeah. When the two beasts fought, they destroyed much of the land, knocking down trees, causing much destruction. Although dangerous and powerful beings, thunderbirds were also seen as benevolent nature spirits.
Okay, well here's one for you. So it says they were knocking down trees and destroying the land.
Spirits.
And that a precursor to it was seeing the bird and then thunder, and so in my mind I think tornado.
Okay, but that doesn't explain the bird though.
Maybe the tornado looked like the thunderbird. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I just feel like it's an answer to a tornado. It's kind of a mythical way to describe a tornado. It's the great thunderbird.
Some tribes even thought that some of the flooding was due to the thunderbird and at periods. Yeah. So.
See, things can flood during the tornadoes too. It'd be interesting to find out
there were some rocks known as thunderstones. They thought those were the eggs of the creature.
According to some legend.
I never heard of thunderstones. I'm going to have to look at that up.
Maybe that's what Sasquatch baps around in the woods. Bam, bam.
Maybe.
Thunderstones.
Maybe.
Thunder.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
All right. So, I think we're going to take a little break just a couple minutes early. We're going to get into the second half of, telling more stories about the Thunderbird. And then we're going to talk about a little spirit box session we did.
Yes, we are.
Last night. And then we'll talk about what we did the weekend before that.
Yes, we will. We've got lots to talk about tonight, folks.
So why don't you guys hang tight.
Yes, stick around, please. It's going to get more interesting from here.
It will. It will. It's kind of different for us, but... We will definitely get into it. So let's enjoy some music, and we'll be right back. And welcome back.
Hello, everybody.
All right, so Cindy and I were kind of talking during break, and I do want to get into one other bird. But before I do that, let's get into the most famous sighting.
Sighting numero
One of the
uno.
most famous reports is from 1890, where 2 Arizona cowboys claim to have shot and killed a large bird. Now, when they say shot and killed, they didn't use a rifle. They used a pistol,
Yes, they did.
which is a bird that big.
45.
Yeah. It was
Couple
just-
45s.
couple
If they're
45.
slinging guns, then they probably had 2 each.
It was described as having no feathers and had the head similar to that of an alligator. The 2 men supposedly dragged the dead bird back to town after killing it. The report seemed to suggest that this creature looked more like a pterodactyl or a dragon. Any modern-day bird. More of a dragon than any modern-day bird. Today, cryptozoologists usually refer to the Thunderbird legends the same way they do with flying cryptids, such as Kongamato, the Rock, ROC, the Ropin, and even sometimes the Jersey Devil.
Oh, no.
Now,
The devil of Leeds.
the Devil of Leeds. Now, some of these Thunderbird sightings, if you go and you look it up, some of the things, I don't even know what you would call them, but some of the things that ancient people have made to
Right.
depict this thing, where the wings had 2 legs, almost human-like, and had 2 red eyes.
Yes.
So which that brings me to think, Mothman.
Mothman. Is it a
looked-
relative?
It looked like Mothman.
Or is it the Mothman?
We don't know.
I have an interesting backstory to the most famous story of the Thunderbird. Now, if you go and try to look up the picture, it's increasingly difficult to find the original.
They've just about taken it down everywhere.
Yes, and there are, of course, remakes and photoshopping and all this done. But supposedly, they lined up men from wing to wing to get the actual wingspan of this animal after they dragged it back to town. And it ended up being 18-foot wingspan. Now, there was a man who was a cowboy at the time. And in the 1930s, he came forward to talk about this incident. Now, back in Tombstone in the 1890s, news was sparse. So they had a very difficult time at the, let's just call it the Tombstone Gazette, actually finding stories to print. And so they kind of took this story, according to this man, who was actually a part of it. And it wasn't 2 cowboys, it was a couple of ranchers on horses who saw this big bird. And they went to chasing this bird and trying to shoot it. Now, they followed it for a ways, and the bird swoops down a little bit lower. The horses get spooked and do not want to follow anymore and run off. And they did not, in fact, according to this guy, him and several ranchers actually did not shoot it down. But they went back to town with the tail. And, of course, the Gazette ran with it. And this supposed picture is even supposed to be
Fake.
not even existent in the first place.
Right.
So there's a little backstory.
It could have been faked.
Yes, it could have been. Now, the actual story itself, the account, is an actual account of, and they were not the only people to see it. So there are more accounts of this giant bird being in the area. But again, like we talked about before, I mean, maybe it is. Maybe it's a distant relative of Mothman, especially if it has glowing red eyes.
Right.
I mean, that's interesting.
So, upon doing some of my research, my computer will allow me, the bird that they possibly would have seen back in that time would have been the Argentavis. Okay, was among the largest flying bird ever to exist, quite possibly surpassed in wingspan only by the Pelagornis Sandersi, which was described in 2014. Some called it the giant teraton. So let's get some stats
So
on
that's
this
an
thing.
extinct species.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's definitely extinct.
Okay, so why is it so far-fetched to believe that there could be some relic pterosaurs flying around?
All right, so here's some stats on the thing. Not that I'm trying to ignore you.
No.
Argentavis wingspan estimates varied widely depending on the method used for scaling. Regression analysis, comparisons, blah, 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 blah. Wingspans have been
The
published.
California condor in there.
For the species up to 7.5 to 8 meters, which is 24 feet, 7 inches, to 26 feet, 3 inches.
That's a big bird.
All right. But the more recent estimate would have been 16 feet, 8 inches to 21 feet, 4 inches. Still
That's,
a big freaking bird, man.
Is. That's a very big bird. So they're kind of comparing this to the California condor, maybe an older relative of, but a body much like the California condor, which is basically what are we calling them? They're scavengers.
Right.
Yeah. So this is a scavenger type bird.
So this weight on the bird, they say, I found here 180 pounds on the bird. But other places I found was about 160.
That's one hell of a chicken.
Yeah, let's see, it says it right here. It's more likely that it was 154 to 159 pounds.
Wow.
Although the weights could vary.
Wow, that can feed a village. Though I wouldn't want to eat those because they're very
No.
bacteria laden.
Yeah.
You don't even want to touch them.
Usually predatory animals,
Blech.
you don't want to eat it.
Yeah,
Not
they
unless
do
you
all sorts of
absolutely have to.
disgusting things. I wouldn't eat it because they're full of bacteria. Ooh,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, makes my stomach.
They would have been the heaviest extant flying birds. The heaviest bird right now is 46 pounds, is what they're saying.
Wow, the
So-
heaviest bird. Wow,
Yeah, imagine the 180.
Flying bird.
I mean,
Wow,
yeah, so a 160 pound flying bird. So you would need wings pretty big just to get off the
well,
ground.
yeah, you would. You'd need 24-foot wings. Again, imagine these things flying everywhere.
Yeah. So
Imagine the freaking turds those would drop on your car. Not to be, I mean, but seriously. That's so scary. And what
Yeah.
would they eat? Whole cows?
probably elephants.
Oh, my word.
All right, so the body length for these things, I'm sorry.
Body
Body
length.
length would have
11 feet.
11 feet 6 inches, and then height, which doesn't make any sense, 4 foot
4
11 to 5 feet 11.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. But
The body length, because the length is from tip to tail. From the beak to the
what's
tail.
the height?
The
When
height.
they're standing.
Yeah, when they're
I get you.
standing.
I get you. Okay. All right.
In mass, yeah, they're big birds.
Yeah, 160 pounds. So we won't see them now because they were they're prehistoric birds. But there would have been a chance back in the 1800s that they would have seen a bird that big.
Do you think on Young Guns when they're taking the peyote and he says, "Do you see the size of that chicken?" You think that's what they were seeing?
Possibly.
I think so. Answers that question for me.
So yeah, the Argentavis probably would have been close to the Thunderbird as the natives would portray it.
I like your theory though.
Yep.
I'm liking this theory.
Yep.
The possibly it's got some Mothman ties with those red eyes.
It very well could.
I wonder if it'll make you pass out if you look at his eyes.
I don't know. I might just pass out if the thing lands in front of me.
Well, obviously, I think I might too. That's interesting. Wow. You know, I can't say that my views change very much on the Thunderbird. I still feel like we can explain it away, but there are some interesting aspects to it.
Mm-hmm.
Something that's going to make me dig deeper. I really want to find some more accounts. This is a widely understudied creature, and I'm even reluctant to call it a cryptid, but I mean, it is grouped in the cryptid category, so it does merit some more research. So we're going to have to kind of look into that just a little bit more.
So about 6 million years ago is when the Argentavis magnificens it's called, is a large bird that was discovered in Argentina.
So the condor is sort of like the offshoot of the Argentavis.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's the Argentavis is the ancestor of the condor.
But why would somebody have said that back then they would have seen a bird that big back in the 1800s? That's not 6 million years ago.
Well, maybe they're just alluding to the fact that it possibly, like I said, a relic pterosaur, one that's still around.
Teratone.
Well, pterosaurs, whatever.
Potato.
That's kind of what. And it's really weird that they're described so differently in different places. Like, they can be described as a large crow, again, like a condor, a pterodactyl.
Right.
It's a dicey kind of cryptid. So
I think we've talked about as much as we could find on the Thunderbird, which wasn't a whole hell of a lot.
Well, you can't win them all. Oh, sorry, we're just looking at chat.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what's going on here.
We're missing all the fun talking about the Thunderbird.
Fran.
I love you, Fran. You're so freaking awesome.
The visual.
It's awesome. I love it. It's making me feel better.
So let's get into our weekend. Where do you want to start? You want to start this weekend?
Well, I just want to apologize for being so low-key tonight. I know usually I'm full of energy, and I'm just ready to go. But I'm feeling a little under the weather, so.
Yeah.
So I'm just not quite my peppy self tonight
when
we're talking about cryptids. I love them so much, so I'm sorry, guys. But yeah, I mean, let's talk about this little spirit box session we did last night.
Okay. Which we kind of touched on most of it at the beginning of the show, but yeah, it was just weird. I just happened to bring it with me because usually she'll say, "Oh, I wish we had the spirit box,"
Or, "Oh, I wish we had the parabolic."
Yeah, so I brought the parabolic and the spirit box with me, along with a voice recorder. We just turned it on, and it was, I was trying to figure out since I'm a Yankee boy down south, and so I was trying to act like a Union soldier, and that didn't work.
That's not ever a good idea.
No, I should have been a little bit more forward about it, but I wasn't. I was very respectful about it.
Now he's Johnny.
So it was just kind of weird that everything ended up turning into Bigfoot, and I swear at one point in time,
Judy, we were in Area 1 is what we call it, and we'll let you know where we were at. We'll tell you.
Yeah.
But
it's a hotbed for Bigfoot activity.
But we were really out there we just on the fly. I went to do something very special yesterday, and we were on the way back from doing something very special. And when we did, we decided we were just going to go camping. So we figured we'd just come on home and put our stuff in the car in Squatch 1, and we take off. And so that's what we did. And being who we are, the both of us, we're always going to have some kind of equipment with us. I mean, whether we want to test it out or, just because we're going to have it. So we decided to test out the new spirit box and take the parabolic and just go out and camp, do some primitive camping. So that's what we did. Went to our little favorite area, number 1. We weren't expecting anything. So John's like, "Hey, break out the spirit box. Let's do this thing."
Oh my God, you brought it? Yes, I brought it.
I was like, yes. Awesome. Yes. Got the parabolic going, which, by the way, when you're by the crate, the parabolic doesn't do much good.
No.
So we started up our little session, and right away, immediately upon turning on that spirit box, we hear, "Hello."
And I thought it was her.
It was not me.
I swear to God it was.
And poor Lily, she's over there just shaking in her proverbial boots because she just was completely freaked out. It's dark out there, y'all, and this is not way out. Well, I guess in comparison to what most people would think is way out, it's way out. But to us, it's not that far out. But it's still dark. It's dark as pitch, especially when it gets late at night. You can't see anything. So the kids are in bed. We're all three sitting around enjoying our little spirit box session. And we're getting response. And some of it's a little bit weird and hear kind of weird growly kind of things. And it's kind of soft. You can't hear anything really good. But then I'm just like on the phone, I'm like, hey, so if you guys are out here, have you seen Bigfoot, Hairy Man, the booger, you know? And we automatically get a, uh-huh. And it's like, are you kidding me?
Now, I just want to let everybody know there is only one radio station in the county of Fannin County. In Fannin County.
That you can pick up.
That's it. One.
And we're in a holler between two mountains. So, we're not picking up a lot. This is very, how do you want to put this? Like, it's very clean evidence. Is that what you would think to say, maybe?
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot of contamination. There's not a lot that you can't, the thing is where we're at, you can't say, okay, well, this was just this coming through, that coming through. There's nothing out there to come through.
Right.
So this is very pure, clean evidence that we're getting. Very. And with the antenna down, because John keeps the antenna down.
I always run the antenna down,
which I
never
think
leave it up.
I think is freaking genius. So he's got it down, and we're picking stuff up. Now, mind you, we have done this in the house in different places and gotten nothing. I mean, zilch, nothing at all. And we were just getting stuff left and right. When I started talking about Bigfoot, that thing lit up, and I even said something about who the Bigfoot is, or who are you, or something about who the Bigfoot is, and it said me.
Yeah.
So we're beginning to sit here and wonder, we're contemplating. We're contemplating whether or not, since these Bigfoots have the ability, according to some people, some researchers and some cryptozoologists who have studied this, and even people from NASA, who they have the ability to hear and, I guess, communicate through spectrums of sound that we do not.
Right.
Like above and below what we can do, what we can comprehend, what we can hear. So who's to say that, this would be crazy, who's to say that these beings could not communicate with us through a spirit box? I mean, we don't know, right? There's no way to know. Either someone was yanking our chain, or we were getting some sort of response from something. So that was really interesting, and it got Lily so spooked she just didn't want to go in her tent. So she
went to sleep with a walkie-talkie,
and I had to keep the other one. So she was
nowhere right next to each other.
She was completely freaked out. It was funny, but I mean, it was very interesting, very eye-opening. And here's the interesting thing. So we get up this morning, and John's like, well, hey, let's break this out again. We really didn't get much of a response. I think we may have gotten a hello, maybe.
Yeah, maybe one hello.
And then that was about it. I mean, I don't really think we got anything else. Nothing tangible. So this morning, under the same conditions, except for the fact that it was daytime instead of night, we ran it again for a good amount of time and got really nothing. So it's really interesting that last night we got so much. When I even think today we could have gotten more interference during the day.
Yeah.
And we still got nothing. So it was very interesting that we got what we did last night.
But we did record it on a voice recorder, so when we go through it, I'll have to pull it apart and share it on a Facebook page.
Our ever growing log of stuff we've got to go through. Oh man.
Yeah. So the parabolic probably ran about 7 hours straight. So and that's
man.
A lot to listen to,
and it's a lot of creak. So we're gonna listen to it. Just be like, go
use it
go
as white noise.
It's gonna be great. But so that was an interesting, very interesting little camping excursion.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. So for those that again don't know much about the Spirit Box, I got the S Box from Ghost Stop, and it has one of those flip up antennas on it. I never ever use the antenna. The antenna just makes it more sensitive, and you pick up more radio stations when they're one of those telescopic antennas. I hate running the antenna up. I want it down. I want to make it more difficult. Unfortunately for the Spirit to use it, but to me it would be more credible if the antenna was down versus up.
I agree with you. And Fran says yes, but can someone respond like that?
I don't understand what she means.
Yeah. Elaborate on that. Can someone respond? You mean like another person? Like maybe interference? Or do you mean like a spirit responding that way?
I forget where I was going now.
Sorry, train of thought. You were talking about an outsider, like a person responding, interfering, like getting interference from a person. A prank. No, not on the spirit box. She means like someone pranking us through the spirit box.
No, because they would have to be close enough to hear us, and the only way they could do that would be through some sort of other radio device, whether it's walkie-talkie or CB radio. They would have to hear us.
Yeah.
And respond.
They couldn't have heard us, over by the creek where we were, and we weren't speaking very loud, and there was no one out there.
Yeah.
And you were talking about the antenna. Your mother just
I don't remember where I was going now.
You said you always leave it down because you feel
I don't remember.
But I think it's a great thing that he does leaving the antenna down, because then you're not getting so much radio stuff in there. But no, it's that we definitely can rule out a prank.
Mm-hmm.
So
for sure.
So we have that. We just
Definitely
there's
not
no
a
way.
prank. No way.
Especially where we were at. There's nothing on the other side of the creek.
You mean we could just barely hear cars coming down the road heading to a certain area that I'm trying to get to, but don't have a truck to get there.
Yeah, we're trying, guys. We really think there's some good stuff out here. And after a certain amount of time, after like 9 o'clock, I don't think anybody even rolled through anymore.
No, I mean, a lot of vehicles came out, but nobody went in.
No. So
trying to figure out. Yeah, you wouldn't have been able to. We could just barely hear the road. Like I said, the creek was just that loud. We were right there.
Yeah, and nobody could have been around us. The area we were in, it's a little kind of hidden grove place that's kind of down a hill right by the creek, and it's not a very big place. So there's no chance for any sort of contamination or prank.
So we did an investigation last weekend.
Ah, yes.
At my place of business. At my place of work, sorry.
Yeah, after the show last week. We took off. We did.
And
please come and help us investigate.
my boss was like, why don't you come in and check it out? So originally going in now, I was like, I don't think there's going to be anything. There's kind of too much to explain to rule a lot of stuff out. We go in now, Cindy and I, and so we just brought basic stuff, nothing crazy, couple cameras, couple voice recorders, parabolic microphone, and just, I don't believe in applications, but I ran a Paratech, which is a word generator.
And if you're going to use one, that would be the one I'd use.
Yeah, if I was going to use one.
We've gotten better results with that one than anything.
And I still don't like using it. I would pick up a Spirit box before I'd use a Paratech. But, so we go in there, and we're just, starting to do our thing, taking a baseline reading of the temperature, the EMF in there. My boss was nice enough to kill all the power in the place, so there was nothing that could interfere with anything. We're going through a few things, few little things happened here and there. Some things we didn't even hear at the time.
And this is a big place too, by the way.
It's, think of the biggest metal building, I-beam and, steel building you could possibly think of.
Big.
And that's it.
Yeah.
It's just big, one big open area with a big, huge machine in the middle of it. Yeah. And he
is a nice boss.
I'm trying to remember. So we started running the paratech, and a couple of the claims within the building were laughing. So I originally thought first peacocks across the street.
Yes, because there are peacocks.
Because there are peacocks across the street.
And if you know what a peacock sounds like, it very much, especially in the evenings, at night when they're roosting, and in the mornings, they very much do sound like someone laughing.
Yeah, and they do tend to be a little bit more vocal when it's mating season.
Yes.
So
like now.
We were running the paratech, and one of the words that came up was laugh. So that was one of the claims.
And it was very direct to what we were asking as well, which is interesting.
So my boss and I looked at each other. We're like, that's interesting. So, what was it, about 2 weeks ago, we were having problems with the breakers in work, and another word that come across the paratech was breaker.
Yeah, and we were talking about that before that came up earlier when we first got there.
So I didn't really even tell Cindy the whole story about behind the breakers.
No.
So it was just weird, and my boss and I looked at each other, and we just about giggled and laughed with like little girls. We were like, yeah, we're fist bumping, and he's like, no shit, like that.
No shit.
And then another thing that's significant to the place was the field.
Yes.
So now my place of work used to be a cornfield way back in the heyday, and this guy,
Children of the Cornfield.
No.
Okay.
So this guy, William Cole, used to grow corn there, and he was actually really known for it in Morganton. And supposedly he's buried there, somewhere out there in the 29 acres. And I haven't gone looking for him yet, but David, I'm going to ask you, so I hope you can, you let me go in there. But anyways, he was buried on the in the field with his horse, and so on and so forth.
Because back then were buried with horses.
Yeah,
that was one of your prized possessions.
So yeah, so that it goes on, and anyways, so after that had happened, a few more things were said, and it was just like
Yeah, there's
things I didn't even know about.
There's this upstairs part area where there are some machines and things and ductwork, nothing major.
Yeah.
And it's open. And I was up there just kind of, messing around and doing an EVP session. And I heard like a sigh or a hum, like a little girl hum or sigh. Just a, huh. And I heard it audibly. I'm not sure if did we get anything?
Well, we did. I think we did up there, but not what you heard.
No, it wasn't what it wasn't what I heard. But so I did hear that, which was really interesting. We heard some knocks and bangs, we would ask for...
and it's kind of, I'm gonna just step in here for a second, and it's kind of common for that place because it's just one big steel building open, and the doors they're not like really solid doors. They're like more like the emergency type.
The bay doors, so they can hit against.
Yeah, there's a little bit of play in them, but they're electrical doors.
And then there could be bats banging around.
Could be.
But we did get a couple of, we'd ask and get direct knocks and things. So, that's speculative, but it did happen. We did do that, but we got a name Terry a lot too.
I haven't looked into the name yet.
And we're still looking into this, so we're bringing this to you, early. We haven't looked into it.
So Cindy, as usual, decides she's going to take off in the dark, and I have no idea where she went.
I don't do that. I do that. I really do that.
So me and my boss started walking. I remember the last direction she was going in. Oh my gosh, she won't go underneath the half saw. No, she did. In pitch dark. Anyways,
it wasn't that dark.
Anyways,
I was asking questions. I got carried away,
and all of a sudden we get into one particular area of the machine, and my boss and I both stopped, looked at each other. Our jaws hit the floor. We heard some sort of laughing or talking or something. What sounded to us like laughing or talking, and we just stopped and looked at it. We didn't know what to say.
It sounded to me like growly, laughy, growly.
But what she heard is not what we heard. We both heard it at the same time in different parts of the building. I could have sworn somebody was right out the emergency exit door. If I had opened it, I swear there was going to be somebody standing
and
there.
I heard it like 10 feet from me. And it was weird. It was like nothing I've heard.
Building is 5 years old.
Yeah, it's a new building. It was something that I had never heard.
Mm-hmm.
It was weird. It was loud too. It was really loud. And I was over there by myself, and as soon as I heard it and they said, "Was that you?" I'm like, "Did you hear?" And we got it on. I was running an EVP recorder. I was running a voice recorder. And the whole time, so we did get
a sound. We actually did get a sound on the camera that I put outside.
And we got an EVP.
Several.
Yeah, but that one direct
it came
one
in
right
with
before
that sound.
When I said, "Can you talk to me?"
Yeah.
And it said,
"Don't want to talk."
Don't want to talk. And then you hear this.
I have no idea what it is.
It's really weird.
It very well could have been frogs. We do have frogs there. But the funny thing is when I went back and listened to the video, there is no talking. It's just that rah, 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 the same sound as what you picked up on.
It just didn't, it just doesn't sound like a frog to me.
I don't know. But what I'm getting at is the voice wasn't there.
Yeah.
It wasn't there on the video.
So the voice, whatever the voice was beside me or near me.
I don't know. I would assume so.
Logically, we would assume that it was near me.
If you listen to the voice recorder, and I look at the waves a lot on my Audacity when I use it, and the bigger the wave, the closer it is. The smaller the wave, the further away it is. It's a small wave.
Yeah.
And the parabolic didn't pick it up as loud as how we.
That's crazy.
Well, it was facing the other way.
But still, you'd think it'd pick up a little bit of it.
But we weren't too far from it. It did pick it up a little bit, but not as loud as what David and I heard it.
It's so weird, y'all. The way that they heard it in the direction they were in and where I was, it's just, it doesn't add up. It's really strange. And I don't know. This one's kind of thrown us for a little bit of a loop.
Threw us for a little. And we did catch one other EVP of somebody or something calling from mom.
Yeah. Mom. Yeah.
Yeah, we heard that.
In one of the reports of the laughing is a guy that came in to punch out, to clock out, he clocked in. And upstairs in that one area where I heard the moan, whatever, and I think the mom came through, is where he heard what he's described as a child laughing. Yeah,
so he come in one morning. Truck drivers usually stop between the hours of, I'm going to say, 3:30 and 4 o'clock, because I'm not really sure, but that's usually when I see them. And he came in, clocked in, went to go out to his truck, and as he was clocking in, he heard somebody laugh. Out the door he went. To this day, he still won't go back in the building unless somebody's there. So
can you blame him?
No. So he'll wait when he's got a flat tire. He'll wait at the gas station up the street, or need air in his tire. He'll wait up the street a little ways before he goes into work because he doesn't want to be in there by himself.
Well, we're not going to leave this like a great mystery. David has invited us back, so we can go and do future investigations in different areas.
I didn't have the spirit box at the time, but now we do have it, so that'll be another
thing to add to our arsenal. So we're excited about that, and we're going to get to
all this is stuff that happened, minus the breakers. Everything else was before I started it.
And people seeing shadows out of their peripheral, things like that. So.
I mean, I've been running my my machine.
You guys, come on. Judy Francis, get down here.
I've been running my machine for a few months, and my boss is, I don't know, I think he said he's not 6'2", he's like 6'5", 6'6".
He's a big old boy.
What he said, and it's kind of funny. I really got to look up to him, and he's younger than me. Anyways, at times he'll come up to my machine and he'll say, "What's up?" The folks down there they're awesome. My bosses are great. They talk to you all the time. Is there anything you need? That kind of stuff. And I swear at times it's David standing down there because the shadow that I see out of my peripheral is that tall.
Yeah.
And I'll turn thinking it's him, and there's nobody
not.
there. And my boss Randy is 6'2".
Big old boy. We make them big down here, y'all.
And oh my God, there's some dudes down here, man, that work in that sawmill. I'm like, no.
What did they feed them?
I'm just gonna hit you in the knee with a baseball bat and run.
That's what grits will do for you. It's the grits and the green beans, collards.
But so yeah, that was it was interesting.
I'm excited to go back. And David was he was really, really awesome and gracious and very attentive and really wanted to know stuff. And it was really, really cool going and like getting to meet him and doing that with him and seeing the expression on his face and him want to know more. It's really cool when you get somebody like that that's so interested in it and be, just so excited about everything.
Right.
It was super, super cool. And we can't wait to go back and do it again.
So yeah, he's really into the paranormal. He loves Bigfoot.
I know, right? See?
And he says to me, we were talking, paranormal and all this other stuff, and I was telling him about the Chastain house and maybe we should do something. And he's like, yeah, well, maybe. I said, well, want to get this Corona stuff all out of the way. I'll take a drive over to the Chastain house, talk to the groundskeeper. Yeah, the groundskeeper, and see if maybe we can do a little company thing or whatever. And
I'm betting that's going to happen.
This is me. I can probably make it happen.
And this is a cool freaking place in the middle of nowhere, guys.
Chastain House. What's the road it's on? Dial
Road.
Road.
Dial and Old Dial's Dial Road.
Dial Road, right near Silver Fox.
Right. Yeah, right across the street from Silver Fox.
Yeah, it's an old. Look, the Chastain House it's in Dial though, right?
It's in it's in Ask Adventure area, but what is that called down there?
Dial.
Is it called Dial?
I think so.
Okay. Well, I mean, you can look it up. Blue Ridge
I'm gonna
Chastain
look it up
House,
right now, so I tell you guys the right thing. That's me, though.
But this place is super cool, and there's a history behind it. It's a different history, depending on who you ask, but it's in an area that was really, really a battleground for two different. It's kind of like the Hatfields and McCoys, but it wasn't. But it was a battleground in this area for these two warring families for a good long time.
All right. Well, I don't mean to step in there, but Chastain House, Blue Ridge is what it says. All right. So it's on Dial Road in Blue Ridge.
Yeah.
I didn't realize Blue Ridge was that big.
Well, it's considered Blue Ridge area. Down here, if it's close to a town, we're going to say it's in that area.
Yeah. So it's on Dial Road in Blue Ridge, Georgia. Chastain House, Chastain.
Look that up.
Yeah, look at the history of that house. That's some sadistic stuff, if you ask me.
It is, and there's one thing that says that there was a doctor who, ran it as an orphanage or had kids in there. And basically, the kids were not well taken care of, and some surgeries were performed on some different stuff like that. But also that his children,
there was a witch or something in there at one point.
Yeah, and also his children were supposed to have died, or at least a couple of them in there.
Tony, one of the truck drivers at work.
Right.
What's up, Tony? If you're listening, he told me he went down there and talked to the caretaker, and the caretaker will bring you right in the house.
That is so.
And he goes, dude. No, I didn't realize they don't say dude down here.
No,
but he's like, you want to talk about a haunted house?
Everybody. I have talked to several people who have been there, and all I will say,
it's not now. The house has been
has
been restored.
The outside's
completely.
Been restored. The inside's been somewhat restored, but they wanted to keep it original, so it's still got a great
the house on the outside is sound.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
It's returned to its original.
It's beautiful, but
glory.
Everybody I've spoken to says this place does not disappoint.
No.
So it's this one, and it's been largely. I mean, it does not get investigated very often.
No, it doesn't.
Because you have to really know somebody to know somebody to get in there.
And I got a few names I can drop.
Yes.
So this house is actually owned by a judge.
It is, and that's probably an old picture you're looking at, Judy. The newer pictures. it's a little bit improved. But you also have to understand when houses down here get like dilapidated. Yeah, that's not the picture. If you look
That's
at a
the new
newer
house.
picture, there's the porch has been rebuilt on it, and it looks absolutely beautiful. And that's the one that's what it looks like today. So, there are some
Gonna see if
child
I can
spirits in
sneak the
here.
link in
So
here.
yeah, I hope you can. And like I said, this is out in the middle of nowhere.
There's the link to the house. What it looks like now.
Mm-hmm. It's not easy to find,
No, it's not.
which is wonderful because it's cool. I've been wanting to get in there since I learned about it for a minute. So we're going to try to make that happen. We also like to go do some poking around at this place called Tilly Ben Church.
Oh yes, we just turned this into a paranormal thing tonight, haven't we?
Well, I mean, it can go
And we
both
were only going to go an
ways.
hour tonight, and we didn't.
Yeah, no.
We went longer than that.
Yeah,
So it's
we
okay.
did.
It's okay.
Yeah, because I'm just not feeling so hot. But no, we might end up this weekend going and visiting Tilly Ben Church.
So Tilly Ben Church again. It was like the Hatfield and McCoys. There was a couple families that didn't like
The
each other.
Tillys, and I can't remember the other one's name.
Patterson.
Might have been
Okay.
Peterson. Yeah, Tillys and the Petersons, I
And,
think. If we're wrong.
Anyways,
let us know.
the Tillys were inside the church, or the whatever the
They
case
were having
was.
Sunday service.
Yeah.
The Tillys were having Sunday service. And supposedly the Tillys had killed one of the
Patterson,
Petersons.
whatever.
And so they took it upon themselves to come up to the church.
They went OG style
Shot the church out and killed a lot of the Tillys.
with muzzle loaders.
Yeah, and church on Sunday morning.
Yep.
So, yeah, it was not a good relationship between these two families.
Supposedly, if you go up to the church, you're supposed to be able to find some of the bullet holes in the church. I think since then, a lot of that siding has been replaced.
And that might not, I guess it's the original building, but there's some speculation as to whether or not that's even the original building.
True.
So, but
A big but.
the graveyard is still there, and there is one of the family of the Tillys who was supposed to have been a witch.
Yep.
And she is buried at the top right corner of the cemetery in the wrong direction.
On purpose.
Because when you are a witch, you are not buried from east to west.
Or whatever the case may be, yeah.
It's either you're buried the opposite direction or north to south. But either way, if you're a witch, you're not buried the right direction. So she is facing the wrong direction.
Yep.
And it's supposed to be an interesting. A lot of people have gone up there and had experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So
Supposedly, talking to one of the caretakers, also a co-worker of mine, that there have been, back in the days, they used to have hangings down there. And it's, I'm not saying this just because I'm in the South, but just listen to the story. So they used to do a lot of hanging of black folk down there.
Yep. Unfortunately.
And there were also some known satanic practices that also happened down there.
I think one just kind of follows the other.
Well, yeah.
Yet they hear, okay, well, people were hanged here, so we're going to go over here and do some satanic
Yep.
conjuring and see what we can dig up. So basically, it's a little hotbed that they've made it over there.
And supposedly.
So we
Look,
have witches, Satanism, hangings, all in one little area.
Yeah, I'm even going to put 2 parentheses in chat, supposedly.
But so we've been up there. We haven't been up there at night yet, but
No, not yet.
we're kind of itching to get up there and take the spirit box
Let's see what happens.
and do some spirit boxing. That's funny.
Spirit boxing
Yeah.
instead of beatboxing.
No, because if they come up to us, we're going to box them. Spirit boxing. Yeah. He puts up with me all. It's not my
This is what I
fault.
got to deal with.
All the time, he does.
So,
Constantly. I'm terrible. No, I'm not really.
yes, she is.
I'm really not that. Not all the time. But that's what we're doing. That's what we're up to, what we've been up to. And yes, we are furthering our cryptid adventures and looking into some more stuff. We've got some people to talk to, and we do have some other areas like Cut Cane that we're going to look into. I can't believe I just said that.
It's okay.
But hey, we're in the area. We got to start looking into it. So We're not done yet. We just started back up.
Oh, am I going to play what? Going to play it. Play what? I don't have anything recorded, but
You do have.
I do have something that you can listen to.
Yes.
All right. So,
yeah, any of the evidence we got from when we went to the thing, we're still going through it. So we'll get that ready to play for you guys.
So, all right, what I'm about to play you is about 45 seconds long. Now, I want you to take into your head, I want you to close your eyes and visualize this. Deep woods, hills on either side, you're in a valley. At least that's what we call a valley.
It's a holler.
And down here, it's a hollow. Anyways, in that valley is a creek. It's probably 10 yards, maybe 15 yards wide. And it's pretty rapid. There's some noise to it, okay? Trees everywhere. Off to your left is a waterfall, okay? Now, the distance I'm going to give you is probably maybe 200 yards. Maybe 200 yards. And I don't have anything on the spirit box right now, but let's just listen to the story for a minute. And so about 200 yards wide. And this is all done in 45 seconds. All I'm going to say is I don't know one human that could run through the woods uphill in 45 seconds, 200 yards.
Downhill and then uphill. Like
down,
from
over
one side
a creek,
to over a creek,
up,
down,
up a ledge, over, and then up again.
In 45 seconds.
In 45 seconds.
And cover that much ground.
Now, I'm going to suggest, if you want me to wait, I suggest you go grab your headphones for a better experience.
Because I was rolling on the voice recorder when we were out there.
And just so you're going to hear us go, oh, that's people. That's people. And then we just went, wait a minute. This happened 3 times in 45 seconds.
Yeah.
And we were standing on the trail waiting for people to come down either from the waterfall or down the trail, and it never happened.
Nope. And you're going to hear the kids in the background. They're going to play in the creek.
You're going to hear the kids. All right, I'll wait. I'll wait. You guys tell me when you're ready, and I'll play it.
You're
going to hear me whistle. You're going to hear the dog. You're going to hear her. You're even going to hear me off in the distance, which sounds like an EVP, but it's not. It's me. All right. So I'll wait. You guys tell me when you're ready. I'll get it all queued up.
But it sounds like somebody's having a party all by themselves. Like, woo kind of thing.
At first, we were like, nah, that's people. It's people.
But it just... Another one of these... This is another confusing thing.
Yeah. It was
just confusing.
It didn't click until after it all happened. We were like looking at it, and I'm like, wait a minute. And I went back and looked at it. And on the time, I'm like, this happened in 45 seconds? There's no way.
And we were honestly waiting. I got the kids out of the creek waiting for people to come.
We thought there was a truck or something coming down the road.
Yeah, which there's nowhere to go after
we
you
didn't
cross
hear
the creek,
one.
really.
We didn't hear one.
You didn't hear anything.
No.
No sounds of anything motorized.
None.
That's the only way, but you can't get across the creek. It was just weird.
But once you crossed the creek, that was the end of it.
Yeah. It came from my right, then it came from my left, then it came from further over or behind. It just didn't
make any sense.
There's just no, I just don't understand.
The same sound in 45 seconds 3 times.
I'm sitting here thinking about it still. It confuses me. I just don't know how this happened. And there is nobody out in this area. Honestly, there's not. We've seen, going out there, we've seen people, and we've gone out there several times now. We've seen 2 people one time. There were hunters coming out, and it is Forest Service area. And then we saw 3 people that were trying to go down and go for a little 12-minute hike. 12 minutes my rear. Mm-hmm. So...
Actually, we've seen more people than that. Remember the dogs that were there that scared the crap out of Circa? There was like 2 groups of people, yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Are you sure it was there?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was there.
I don't remember it being there.
I'm going to play this.
That was down Aska. That wasn't there.
I'm going to play this, and when Judy comes back, we'll play it again if we have to. All right, so let's check this out. I'm going to mute us and let you listen to it.
Yep. I don't know. Possibly people. I don't know.
You were recording, right?
Yeah,
People.
gotta be.
Trail. Yeah, so you hear it 3 times. The first 2 are kind of a little, I mean, the first one's there. The second one's kind of, you got to listen for it. Then the third one, I mean, it went right to left. And you hear us, we go, that's got to be people. It has to be people.
We were expecting people.
Yeah, I was expecting a group of teenagers to
there's
come
no-
down the road in a
there's-
Jeep, go blasting right through the water.
There's nowhere for anybody to go. If they were coming there's nowhere for them to have gone.
Right. All right. So let's play this one more time so you can hear it. This is the first one.
Yep. I don't know. Possibly people. I don't know.
You were recording, right?
Yeah,
Here's another one.
gotta be.
This is the third one. So, I don't know.
What do you guys think? We'd like some input on that. Because we honestly, we just don't have a clue. We just can't explain it.
I would rather somebody tell me it's a human than try to tell me it's a Bigfoot, only because
Or something, you know?
yeah, I don't.
Not even saying that's what it is, but how do you explain, how can you wrap your mind? I just don't understand it.
You have to think, how can something cover 200 yards in about 45 seconds?
They'd have to be real damn fast. Faster than...
You'd have to fly.
That's the only way you could do it. And we talked about that. The only way a person could move that quickly, they couldn't have done it even if they were on a bike.
Animal of some sort. All right, so all we have is coyotes.
Yeah. And a coyote couldn't move that fast.
And a coyote doesn't make that sound.
No.
Coyote's more high pitch.
Yep. We have cougars.
We have cougars.
Cougar
Cougars don't
couldn't-
make that sound.
And they couldn't have moved that fast.
Bears definitely don't make that sound.
And
they
don't move
don't
that
move
fast.
that fast. We have bobcats.
Don't make that sound. And again, cannot move that fast.
Horse? Why would a horse go woo? I've never heard a horse.
That definitely wasn't a horse.
Yeah, there are horses. Now, I'll give you this. There are horses
That
out
walk
there.
down there. But a horse couldn't have moved that fast.
No.
See, the terrain that we're talking about is...
It's almost 90 trying to get up a hill.
And it's like rainforest area. And whatever this was...
Hold
would
your
have
hand
had
in front
to,
of your eyes.
Yeah.
That's how thick it is.
Would have had to go down like a 7 or 8 foot embankment
It
down
would have
into
had to
a creek.
been. It would have had to been 3, but they all 3 of them. Judy says 2 of whatever. I said there's
Yeah.
actually 3, and it would have had to been 3 of something that sounded exactly the same.
Yeah. That, and it would have had to go down 10 foot embankment into a creek. Now it's 5 or 6 foot embankment into a creek. Back up the creek on the other side. Then up a hill. A big steep hill,
Run down a
up
path.
onto the path, then run
Up.
down the path. I mean, there's
And
just
then up onto the waterfall.
there's no way
in 45
it
seconds.
couldn't have made it through the holler in 45 seconds. You'd have to be flying.
Yeah, so I'm agreeing with what Judy said. They had to have been like 1, 2, 3. That's the only explanation we got.
It had to be 3
3 of
different,
something.
3 of something. It wasn't people.
No, it wasn't.
We would have seen them. We
So
would have heard them.
On the way out, we tracked. All we could see was our own footprints, and the ground was pretty solid. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you would have seen
Something.
tracks or motorcycle
There
or
were
something.
there was nothing, and we didn't hear a motor. There was no motorized sound.
Nope.
And you can't go through a creek even on a dirt bike. You couldn't have done this.
No, that was too deep.
The brush is so thick. The underbrush is so thick in these areas with ferns and all sorts of sticks and
There's two ways in, but to get to us, there's only one way. You either would have walked right into us or walked right by us. And we were at the end. That's just something I can't really explain. I don't even know what to say. It was just, it's still mind-blowing. It really is. But I don't know what else to say.
I mean,
A monkey? No.
that would have been a big monkey.
The problem is the sound that we heard was woo, almost like a woohoo. That was our original thought. It was people. We really thought it was people. We really, really did.
I don't know.
I don't know.
You know?
I don't know. It just moved quick in 45 seconds.
Yeah,
Literally went through the trees and ground or whatever.
It would have had to go through everything.
Yeah.
Like through these are big trees. These are.
I'm not going to lie. I was expecting a big old Chevy with a Confederate flag coming down the road, with a couple rednecks in the back, chucking bears out the back, going, woohoo! That's what I was expecting to see, and we
was
didn't.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It was very loud and...
Yeah. I don't know.
We're stumped
very
on this
weird.
one, guys. We're stumped. Well, we've had other experiences in those areas, too, and
Maybe it was.
in that area. Which, again, this is also Area 1. This falls into Area 1 as well. So... What? Oh.
Maybe it was the Puckwudgies.
It could have been. You want you. Cute.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I'm stumped. I just don't know, guys. This one, I cannot explain it. Like, I don't even know how to wrap my mind around it. Some of the stuff we hear out here, it's like, just, I don't know. It is what it is.
All right, folks. I am beat up from that camping trip.
As am I.
Yeah, and I think we're going to call it a night here. Bird. We'll have to look into that. It's a very good possibility. I mean, not a good possibility, but it's a thought.
Maybe it was a Thunderbird.
Maybe. maybe a Thunderbird, but I have a recording of a Thunderbird.
Yeah,
You know?
I didn't know. No, it's not even close.
Maybe it sounds like this. Flopping through the air.
It's the rare and endangered hillbilly bird. That's what it is. Wow. I wonder if we can take that and magnify it, make it loud, and make it one of our sounds.
Yeah, I can do that.
Let's do that. That'd be fun.
My mother says I thought my iPad was possessed. What is that?
Oh.
Francis, you scared the crap out of me. All right, folks. Have a good night, and we will talk to you soon next week.
And remember,
Remember what?
absence of proof is not proof of absence.
Whatever. Later.